Today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is Thursday, July 22nd. And the only reason you wouldn't be watching us is because you're following the little boats crossing the harbor on Ryan Gorman's Twitter account.
Right there.
But since you're not doing that and you're watching us, thank you very much for joining. Of course, aside from Ryan, joined by CJ from marketrebellion.com. Monty has the day off. He is actively sneaker shopping. So with that being said, let's just jump into the legals.
Thanks, Alex. Great to be back. I'm happy the demolition crew upstairs has finally taken a breather. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion is strictly for educational and informational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment advice, and I don't understand why you'd listen to us anyway.
And that's it.
Oh, my bad. Still getting used to the streaming software.
The well-oiled Trade the Chain machine strikes again.
That being said, I mean, we could just go to real quickly. Where's it? A Philly cheesesteak. Of course, Chef Dan brought this up. I haven't had a proper Philly cheesesteak since we last had one together at Jim's in Philly there.
Jim's is the spot, man. If you go anywhere else, you're just eating garbage. It's Jim's or bust.
Jim's or bust. All right.
Especially with the curry peppers on top. Oh my God, those hot peppers, Alex. That's what you want.
And back to the plugs. CJ, I got the wrong screen showing. There we go. Oh.
Trade the Chain is brought to you by TradeTheChain.com, a global community of traders of all ages, all backgrounds, all skill levels, and all, I guess, levels of expertise. I don't know. That's the same thing as skill levels. Anyway, they're also all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market and make more informed trading decisions. If you, too, want to trade like a crypto insider and you're not yet a member of our global community, check out TradeTheChain.com and take advantage of our 14-day trial.
And taking a look down at the Trade the Chain dashboard, relative trading volume still relatively flat on ETH, down a little bit on Bitcoin as we have a little increase, almost up to 33K today. But then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community at Market Rebellion Crypto. And with us, you get exclusive trade ideas, expert analysis and trade ideas on a weekly basis, as well as our access to our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, and a crypto trading education curriculum that we are continually adding courses to. So if you'd like to check that out, you can go to marketrebellion.com/crypto and get the first month for just $1. So we appreciate that, guys. And without further ado, gentlemen, anything you'd like to bring to the board before we actually go into price analysis?
I just want to point out that it's not fair that Bill Parker is a block from Jim's. I mean, that's just not fair. But also, because this has been raging online since yesterday when the results of the survey came out, on whether or not a hot dog is a sandwich. I mean, you have meat, you have bread, sometimes you have cheese, you often have condiments. How is a hot dog not a sandwich? I don't understand it. That is a sandwich, people.
That's making me hungry. Look at that. Now, you do have a thing against ketchup, though, on hot dogs, I saw.
On anything. Ketchup is the devil. It's vile and should be illegal.
Now, what kind of hot dogs do you particularly like? Like, I go right. I'm like a sewer hot dog eater, right? So
you eat dirty water dogs?
Yeah, it's either a Yankee Stadium hot dog or it's what we call in Manhattan dirty water dog. And I'll eat any of those viciously.
No, Chicago dogs are the best ones. CJ, downtown dogs. That's the spot. Oh my God. I get off the plane at O'Hare or Midway and I go straight to downtown dogs before I even check into my hotel room whenever I'm in Chicago.
What have I gotten myself into? What kind of show is this we're doing?
Got to get it grilled, though. You got to get it grilled and run through the garden. That's the only way to do it.
CJ is always freaking amused at my jokes, okay? And Ryan's just FYI crowd.
I'm just saying a hot dog's a sandwich, everyone. You guys, what do you think? Alex, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah, of course it's a sandwich.
CJ?
Get to the
I
plate.
think it's hard. It's It's ambiguous. It's purposely ambiguous.
But like, how is it if one last point, and then we can move on because I know you want to desperately. If sausage and peppers is a sandwich and all it is a roll with a piece of sausage on it and some peppers, a hot dog is a type of sausage. So basically, at the end of the day, a sausage and peppers is somehow a sandwich when it's just on a bigger version of the same roll as a hot dog bun. But a hot dog isn't a sandwich in some people's eyes. I don't understand it.
Hopefully, I'll be able to match that level of passion with the.
Well, I mean, CJ, it looks like your new background is kind of bullish anyway. So that's at least you're not showing like a death cross.
Yeah, I made some new ones. A couple for Monty as well. It was kind of bothering me how the little logo was like chopped off in the back. But without further ado, why don't we get to the content that people are here for? And I do mean the hot dog discussion.
Everyone wants hot dog and cheesesteak content. Come on, CJ. Our audience? He's just waiting for the to stop.
Well, so let's take a look at the charts and let's go through a brief recap. We talked yesterday about how the B-Word conference really had a nice impact in price and gave us a nice bullish engulfing candle back above resistance. Now, the one thing that was pretty notable that I want to bring to your guys' attention is the fact that we did not get above that downward sloping trend line from the descending triangle. We're still being just bounded by that downward sloping resistance. And then the second aspect of resistance, of course, coming from that moving average at about 34K. So this channel right here, I mean, this is going to be very important for price to, either get rejected from this level and experience something like max pain of 28, 29K, or we actually do see a flush break and consolidation and move forward. I'm starting to feel a little bit more bullish. I think a lot of individuals are waiting for the 20K level or hoping for the 25K level, and I just don't know if it's going to happen. I'd be definitely down to buy 25K and down to buy those lower levels because I don't think we're going below, but I have already begun to kind of scale in here to some exotic assets and some alts that we'll talk about. But that's kind of my view on the market. One thing I will show on the weekly chart is that I do like this hammer candle we're getting on the weekly perspective. It actually does look pretty bullish. If we break out of this falling wedge at about 34 to 35 or even 36K, I mean, that's really the turning point of this thing getting bullish, as if we are, able to break out of this falling wedge. Perhaps we go down and test lower levels in the 20s in the coming weeks, but then, if we get a breakout from this downward level, I think that's going to be very significant. Also, if we look at kind of true strength and where we are relative to previous cycles, I think it's very interesting how we look right now in terms of true strength and how we looked after falling down from 14K and how price had kind of had this pretty fair distance between these moving averages. And then we finally experienced the bullish cross. Of course, COVID kind of gave us that black swan event, but then we had another bullish cross below the midpoint, which took us up into a new bull market rally. So we're not quite there yet on the weekly chart. We could have some more weeks here where we need to kind of go back down with bearish momentum before then crossing up and creating some type of bullish cross. It's another thing I want to look for as well. Two more charts I want to share, and then I want to hear your guys' discussion as well. This is one that's been very popular among Twitter, and it is the short-term holder SOPR, or in this case, the MVRV. And so each time we get into these oversold levels here on this indicator, it hints at a potential capitulation, or that we've already experienced somewhat of capitulation throughout this kind of bear market cycle, I guess you could call it. But this and hitting oversold levels in and of itself is not significant to me. What's significant is getting a breakout from one of these levels. Like when we actually go back out of the green zone and have upward momentum out. We've seen that come true on things like the Puel multiplier very recently, but we just haven't seen it yet in terms of short-term holder profitability and losses. The final one that I want to look up is a chart that we actually had from the daily hodl, I believe it was. But just bear with me. I will pull that one up. This was really interesting because it talks about that Wyckoff distribution and accumulation that we've talked about as well. So this is a very interesting chart. This is obviously Wyckoff accumulation and how the phase kind of manipulates price up and breaks those former resistance levels. We'll see if something similar like this does actually occur. Also, I really like this tweet and the aspect that funding and premiums have actually remained negative throughout this entire range. So if we look at this trading view chart, we can really see periods of time in which negative funding rates have traditionally led or indicated accumulation periods in Bitcoin's history. So it'll be interesting, but I'm leaning a little bit more bullish today, despite the fact I do think it's still possible we could see lower levels. So a little bit of a mishmash analysis there.
No, that was good though. And sorry to cut you off, Alex. I think, there was a huge bump in sentiment yesterday during the B Word conference. I know not everyone was a fan of everything said by Jack and Elon, but Elon did say that SpaceX holds Bitcoin. And when you're looking at the sentiment chart from Trade the Chain, I think since then, it really has remained mostly positive. Right. So you take a look at this and you see the price action as well. We've had a few dips, but overall, we've gone mostly higher on that. And with the daily sentiment staying positive and some of those other charts you showed, it feels like we hopefully have reached a bottom around like 28K earlier this week. And maybe we'll start grinding higher, or at least trading sideways as all of these, there's additional institutions coming in. There are strong indications that retail investors are coming in. And it feels like this could be a turning point. And we might be, turning the corner from the winter to maybe just range bound or slowly moving higher trading.
Wait,
Yeah.
Ryan's bullish?
I'm not a perma bear. I'm just realistic. I'm not going
Ryan has to be
going through the floorboards.
Ryan has to be bullish, like a broken clock, at least twice a day. Okay, he has to go.
I'm not Mr. Short. I'm not Monty. But I just, facts are facts. Like who said ball don't lie? Right? Same thing, right? Chart don't lie. And when you look at the charts right now, and when you look at sentiment, it just feels like things are turning around.
I agree.
But I'm not going to sit here and cheerlead an asset that's just dropping like a stone, like my phone to the bottom of the pool over the weekend. So I think, I think we're getting more positive, and I think this is a great segue to talk about what J.P. Morgan did, and I think that also plays into the positive sentiment as well, right, Alex?
I do indeed. I before we get to that, I just wanted to kind of share with the viewers, speaking of sentiment and what's happening during the day. Here's some daily sentiment, and this is going from the very bullish on down. So, stellar, looking good. A lot of relative tweet volume increase, a lot of relative trading volume increase. Daily sentiment score of 91. I love the fact there's the bakery token. But let's see, we got Swissborg. A lot of Swissborg viewers or Swissborg fans watch the show, falling in number 5 right now with a bullish daily as well. So we got some good ones on the top. Looking at the bottom, we have daily sentiment on the negative side, starting off with Ren. We got OKB in there. We got Tezos in there. I love just saying beefy Finance. We got Audius in there, and Audius was my winning trade 2 weeks back. But
Okay.
yeah, GRT, the graph, bearish for the day with a very low score of 37 there. So interesting to see. But I do agree with you that especially, when we were having our Trade the Chain meeting, our internal meeting today, Ryan, I really felt like we're here. And there's nothing but, listen, sideways for the rest of August, then just start going up again for that second. Like, look, CJ's smiling. I haven't seen him smile on the crypto show in so long.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like we've been saying, it feels a lot. And that's always a little bit dangerous.
Well,
I was just going to mention that earlier from Digital Asset News. Stellar is looking at a partnership with MoneyGram, similar to XRP. Remember how they did that and it didn't work out as great? Hopefully Stellar will do a better job. But sentiment is definitely changing here, especially when you hear Elon say, I have more Bitcoin than I have Doge or Ethereum. I think that puts it more into perspective with people and has really changed in terms of price action. But I still am a firm believer that price leads sentiment.
Why do you think people are surprised that Elon holds ETH? Like, I don't understand the surprise there. I guess, right, like he hasn't really chill out of ETH, but at the same time, it's the second largest crypto asset, and the guy's one of the wealthiest men in the world. If he's going to hold crypto, it makes sense for him to hold at least Bitcoin and ETH. Obviously Doge, I guess, but like, why do you think the shock there?
I wasn't shocked. I was shocked at the Bitcoin concept because we don't really hear him talk about Bitcoin a whole lot, or at least his holdings. We hear him talking about buying Doge, or how Doge is a suitable replacement to Bitcoin because it has more throughput, which of course is not like valid at all. But I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
So I just want to address Deadly Dark Sun, because I actually, the reason I know Deadly Dark Sun, first of all, Deadly Dark Sun, I am pasting the AMA we did with Zero and the team. So that'll give you everything you need to know if you take a look at that. Also, I sent you an email, Deadly Dark Sun. You are a Trade the Chain member, and you won $1,000 2 days ago in our $10,000 cent giveaway. So
that's right.
If you're listening to me, return my email. Look for it in your spam box, your shower, your garage, under your bed, wherever it may be. And if not, you can DM me on our Trade the Chain Discord, and we will take care of your winnings for you. But,
yeah, Deadly Dark Sun, get that cent, get that bag.
So, okay, where were we here?
JP Morgan.
Oops, that's in the wrong order. So here we are, JP Morgan, and I'll go back to that window actually. This is what we remember from Jamie Dimon, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not a Bitcoin supporter. I have no interest in it. Matter of fact, he came out and publicly just said, like, I don't advise anybody to have any crypto exposure, which is remarkable considering, look at this, JP Morgan retailer customers can now tap crypto. Now, it's a little bit of a clickbaity headline. We're going to tell you why, but it is a big departure from where Jamie Dimon's stance on crypto has been for the last handful of years. So, Ryan, take it away. Explain to the viewers why this isn't as magical as it sounds, but yet it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, absolutely. So JP Morgan kind of quietly announced today that their customers, their retail asset management customers, the mass affluent, like if you have an account with JP Morgan, an investment account, you're that type of person. This is how this affects you. You can now invest in crypto through a series of trusts that are now available through Grayscale and Osprey, right? So GBTC, Grayscale's Ethereum Trust, their Bitcoin Cash Trust, and a bunch of and Osprey's Bitcoin Trust as well. So they're not enabling anyone to physically hold crypto, but they're enabling them to invest in trusts that hold physical crypto, and then you cash out in fiat. I think the caveat to this that Alex mentioned, there's more than one caveat. That's one. The second caveat is that financial advisors, of which I used to work in a financial advisory office for UBS, so I know the business well. They're not allowed to solicit orders the same way that they would for regular mutual funds or regular ETFs, right? So anyone who wants to invest in QQQ, they can invest in it. Advisors will recommend it. It's a normal course of doing business, right? QQQ being a NASDAQ 500 Invesco fund. But in order for customers at JP Morgan's retail financial planning branches to invest in these funds, they have to request it specifically. And the advisors, once they have clients into these funds, they cannot make sell recommendations either. They cannot say, hey, it might be time to sell. So no buy or sell recommendations, no soliciting. They just take direction from their clients who want to invest in it. So this says a few things, right, Alex? Right, CJ? One, obviously demand is there, right? Obviously demand is big enough and they're concerned enough that clients will take their money elsewhere in large enough numbers that will affect their bottom line. But two, it still kind of feels like JP Morgan is a little worried about their liability if their advisors make buy or sell recommendations should the regulatory environment turn a bit sideways, especially since these things are all traded off the over the counter rather. So I think there's a lot to unpack here, as CJ would say.
But let's get this straight. This is the reason we're covering this, by the way, is because it's actually not big news. We just didn't want misinformation out there because, but I don't want to hear a week from now or 2 weeks from now, people run around YouTube saying JP Morgan's into crypto now. They're not into crypto. If you just listen to what Ryan said, JP Morgan Wealth Advisor can't even tell you about Grayscale or Osprey Trust. You have to tell him about it. So this is so far away from crypto. It's not even funny. I can't even say it's a small step forward for Jamie Dimon, actually.
I don't know that I agree, because if you're buying into GBTC, you still have to have a minimum that you're buying in, right? And I also think that just having the awareness and having this distribution will kind of force other banks, UBS, Merrill Lynch, and others, and eventually Schwab and what have you, it'll force them in the same direction. And once they're all comfortable with these over-the-counter traded funds, by the time, because banks are notoriously slow. We had Windows NT at UBS until, 2006. That's absurd. So banks move notoriously slow. And by the time all of them are into these OTC funds, I feel like perhaps the regulators may feel like it makes sense to approve a Bitcoin ETF since the demand is there, the pricing is reliable, and there's all the banks are trading crypto anyway. It's like, okay, fine, it doesn't matter, right? Or not trading, but their clients are investing into crypto. It doesn't matter at that point.
Let me tell you something. DJ Crypto brings up a good point too. I'm going to look into this. Okay, so basically, what this is they're not blocking people from crypto. That's good. I don't know that. I actually don't know. I know for a fact that JP Morgan was blocking and shutting accounts that dealt with crypto accounts. But now I don't know if that's changed just because if you're a wealth client, you can ask to go into Grayscale.
Well, no, Chase Bank, you can still use fiat on-ramps in the crypto from Chase Bank, and that's owned by JP Morgan. They weren't actually blocking people.
I got blocked.
I feel like maybe
Ryan, I believe it's all crap anyway. People, Wells Fargo wasn't allowed to do fiat on ramps and all that stuff, and a lot of people got blocked. I've used Wells Fargo. I use for fiat on ramps. It's who the heck knows? It's like disinformation everywhere. We're just trying to cut through the noise like a bunch of VGX heroes.
Yeah, there it is. But I do feel like this is a big deal. I feel like it's the beginning and when you have all the news that came out earlier this week that you guys talked about when the demolition crew was upstairs destroying my afternoon, talking about all these institutional investments into the platforms and the pipes. And then you have other banks like Santander and a few others that have actually blocked their customers from being able to use crypto on-ramps. I feel in some regions, I feel like this is a step in the right direction, as DJ Crypto said. And I feel like they have to test something out. And if this goes okay and there are no hiccups with this, and then they start going into those Bitcoin adjacent ETFs that are starting to come out, I just feel like it's only a matter of time until, maybe JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs, through their advisory arm, they allow people to hold crypto assets.
DJ Crypto, hit up CJ in his DMs and get him to NFT himself as a VGX hero, please. I agree with you, Ryan, but let me just tell you this: there's a lot of banks that are further along in the process than this announcement from JP Morgan. Particularly with Boney and custody and stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah, and they're working with State Street to that trading platform, the new exchange that you guys talked about earlier this week, that's going to directly compete with LMAX Digital. Absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree. But you have to start somewhere, and all the moves so far have been institutional focused versus retail focused. And I think maybe perhaps it should have started sooner if it's just OTC funds.
Take a look at on the screen. BitCo 7. Let me tell you, Big TCO 7. I don't even know how to pronounce people's names. Big TCO 7. I love this guy. This guy is like a passionate fighter of positiveness in the Twitterverse right here, and he's a good dude. Thank you, by the way, for supporting the show. Really appreciate it, buddy. I think Twitter bans him 3 times a day.
He's also one of my fans, I can say.
Can I ask a question? Sure. What is VGX Heroes? Is that like an NFT CryptoPunks thing?
Listen, I really should have DJ Crypto on here and a couple of the other smart folks who are part of the Hero Squad here, but I'm going to do my best. And you guys throw in the comment if I need correcting. So VGX Heroes are heroes selected by the community who are there to protect VGX, the Voyager way, and to move it forward in positive, momentum and knock down all the FUD and all the crap that people throw at it, trying to crap on Mr. Ehrlich and team. I think that's a good way of saying it.
I would be honored to be part of that group. Long-term VGX holder, and why would I sell? I'm just going to collect the 7% interest. But let's get back on topic.
I too, CJ, am a VGX hero.
Yeah, he made his NFT goofy.
I'm Carl the Crab. My son loves Carl the Crab, so I did it more for him.
I love the VGX family. All right, CJ. I want to take it. This is actually ad hoc right now. I want it to be. Oh, by the way, one last thing.
Yeah,
we did this the other day. Look at, more money going in. VCs pumped $4 billion into crypto firms in Q2. It's just getting ridiculous at this point.
And I know of one crypto asset manager that raised nearly $250 million as the market was tanking while everyone else saw outflows. And they've been quiet about it. But there are asset managers, there are funds that are raising money, even though all the headlines you see are no one cares about crypto, or all the funds are seeing outflows. That just isn't the truth.
No institutional interest.
Yeah, no retail interest. Okay, then why did JP Morgan tell their clients they could buy crypto? Why are all these projects being invested in by institutions? People just have, they have their own agendas, and it's ridiculous. It's like, I get it. You hate crypto,
Yeah. So, CJ, putting you on the spot here, if we go, if we go with the pie theory, okay, are you able to pull that chart up quickly?
What pi cycle top?
Pi cycle top. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll pull it
If
up.
we go with the pi cycle top, and we flip flopped on what our views of the pi cycle top are, guys. We were like, it's too new, it can't really do it. But then it was starting to hit all the boxes perfectly, and we were like, well, maybe it is. We were doing the usual YouTube flip flop. But I wanted to get back to it because we haven't talked about it in a little while, and there's equal amount of haters as there are lovers. So CJ, what are your thoughts on the pi cycle top indicator at this moment?
My thoughts on the pi cycle top, like you said, we had initially dismissed it, and that was not just us. I mean, I'm sure there was a couple individuals, selling because we were nearing an intersection in the pi cycle top. But even look into Bitcoin, the site that actually, has the pi cycle top, was one of the first to have the pi cycle top. They sent out a newsletter to their subscribers. I'm one of them, and they even dismissed it and said, we have a bunch of other indicators that are showing that we're still very early on, maybe only 25 or 30% through the entire cycle, but we topped due to that pi cycle top indicator. And soon after we had made that lower high on Bitcoin at about 55K, and then we really fell after seeing the intersection on the pi cycle top. I said it in the shows. I said we have to validate it now and listen to it because the market's watching it and reacting to it. And so, there's a difference between what we want to happen or what we hope to happen in markets and what actually does happen. Of course, we hope that our current cycle is close to a bottom and we'll have, a two-legged cycle, which would end up looking something like the pi cycle top on 2013 and 2014. We're not there yet, but ideally, once we get back to that point where we can see another intersection in the pi cycle top, then yeah, I'm going to take all the chips off the board. I think probably the largest criticism was the fact that we hadn't seen a intersection live because a lot of this data was kind of back tested and fit retroactively. And so to actually see the intersection happen in real time was very powerful to me. And I'm going to listen to that indicator. So,
CJ, you're starting to sound an awful lot like me, like sensible,
Oh,
we want the market to go up. We all want the market to go up. But, sometimes it goes down, and heaven forbid we talk about that, or else, you get everyone on the show but me gets called out as being someone's favorite. And people in the comments tell me that they wish the construction crew would come back upstairs. So, it's rationality is good. Levity is great,
I think in the United States, we just need a better way. I mean, we can short Bitcoin, we can make money on the way down, but it's not as viable as buying a put option on Robinhood or something that is really easy that the vast majority of people can do. I think there's a lot of opportunity in Bitcoin, whether it be to the upside or the downside, if you're willing to stick around through these market cycles, because there's a lot of money to be made on the short side as well. It's just the vehicles for it are not as far along as I want them to be.
So a rumor that I heard that's been making the rounds is that there are professional sports teams willing to accept crypto for sponsorship deals in the United States, upwards of $4, maybe $8 million. If that's not bullish, I don't know what is. And then you have today Watford FC announcing that their shirt sponsor is now going to be in crypto. They're paid entirely in crypto by a betting company. So this isn't even a crypto company. It's a company that allows online betting, gambling on soccer, kind of like a Paddy Power or Bet365, paying in crypto. So this is a huge deal. And it just shows that the company is called Stake. So it just shows that there is growing momentum in the crypto space and that people are taking it much more seriously. And when you have teams, sports teams, which some of them get $50 million in the Premier League, like Manchester United or Manchester City. And that's a significant source of revenue for them. And they're willing to take it in crypto. That just shows that people are they're increasingly accepting of this as an asset class and as a means of exchange. And they're starting to see the value in it. And the fact that it took only 12 years from when Bitcoin was created till now, or 13 years to get to this point. I think that's massive. And it shows that while price might not reflect everything that's going on right now, momentum is building behind the scenes. And it's only a matter of time before price starts to reflect that. It might not happen this summer, but it will happen at some point this year. I still don't think we're going over 100K this year, but price will start to reflect this momentum.
Yeah, I don't think the stock to flow model should be considered broken if it takes a couple months after the end of the year to actually reach 200K. It doesn't have to be exact to still be effective, in my opinion. But I want to ask a question to you, gentlemen, which is, as we kind of reach into this period where sure, we could go lower, but there's so many people who are waiting for 25K. Have you guys bought any crypto in the last week, or have you tried to kind of combat that idea by saying, look, I'm going to buy now, even though I do think we're still going to 25K? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I haven't bought any crypto. I haven't changed any positions in the last week. My position changing the week prior were a few scalp trades. And week prior to that, when we were really kind of digging in the muck, was dollar cost averaging. So through this cycle, I've done a little bit of everything: dollar cost average, some scalp trading, and then nothing. And folks, nothing is an okay strategy too, when at the right time.
I've done nothing. I've taken Alex's advice and held on to my handlebars and just ridden this thing out.
I just want to say something, because we moved from the topic that Ryan just did so quickly. But, Trade the Chain and Voyager led the way in sports team contract payments in crypto in the U.S. I'd like to say, come on, folks. We did.
Yes, we did.
That with good old Steve and our two companies. We paved the way for everybody. So I just want to pat myself on the back along with you, Ryan, for a little of that.
We'll see. We'll see when race day comes.
Hey,
see if you're still patting yourself on the back.
What numbers the Market Rebellion car again?
I don't know. I'll look.
Landon Castle was number 4 in your program, but number 1 in your hearts, Trade the Chain community.
I like that. Number 4. Car, number 1 in your hearts.
Get behind him. Let's go, Landon. One more thing that I wanted to bring up, besides all this self-congratulating going around, is something a little more serious, guys. So maybe some of our audience knows, but maybe not all of them knows. Next week, there are going to be a series of hearings on Capitol Hill around stablecoins and the risk that they pose. And I'm sure this hasn't at all been brought on by issues between Bitfinex and Tether. But, you have the SEC, you'll have the CFPB, you'll have a number of these acronyms on the Hill testifying in front of Congress. And I don't think it's any coincidence that with these types of hearings coming up, crypto startup that, full disclosure, I work with. I do all of their public relations and corporate communications. Solidus Labs hired a former CFPB head to run their regulatory affairs. She was under the Trump administration and resigned at Biden's request, which is normal for a change of regime. When a new president comes in, officials and authorities resign and new ones get appointed. But she's heading up the regulatory affairs, and Solidus Labs, they do risk monitoring and surveillance across exchanges, work with regulators around the world, and it also shows that former regulators are now increasingly starting to work in the private sector, and they're trying to help the private sector figure out the regulatory hurdles. You have, Chris Giancarlo, who used to be at the CFTC, also investing in this company, and you have a number, Brian Brooks, who was at, was that Binance US, Alex? Yeah, Binance.
Yeah, he's now CEO of Binance US.
Correct. So this is just part of a trend that we're starting to see that, has been prevalent in traditional finance for quite a while. Former government officials leaving and going into the private sector there. And then you also have senior executives at banks like Goldman Sachs often ending up in senior influential roles in the government in Washington. So I think, this is just yet more evidence of the industry maturing, being taken more seriously, and really trying to solve for the problems that the SEC has had with the lack of reliability and in market data, pricing data, volumes, and what have you. And I think it's not a coincidence that we're all learning about this, I guess, a week before these hearings. Right.
It's interesting to see all these folks that have come over in the last year from regulator positions into mainstream crypto. I think it's really a positive factor, and I think it's even more of a bullish signal to go along with all the other bullish signals that are starting to emerge. Forget the FUD, man. We're done.
Well, I don't know about that, but I think that things
Try to be upbeat, all right, Mr. Depression?
There was a story earlier this week in the block. I don't know if you guys saw about all these like Wall Street veterans and leaving and going into crypto. And it wasn't the one where you have a bunch of young analysts who are at, Goldman or Merrill, and they were tired of working 15 hours a day and getting nowhere, who are like in their 20s. You had some people who were like 30, 35 years on Wall Street leaving. They could retire if they wanted to, and going into crypto to help build the financial system of the future. They're seeing opportunities in crypto that they never thought they'd have in finance, even though they were there for 3 decades.
Guess what, Ryan? We all saw it years ago when we got into crypto, so we're a little ahead of them.
I think so, yes.
CJ?
But it's becoming like we wanted to get into crypto. We sought it out. These individuals have no choice. They're being forced into it because there's such a growing demand and an opportunity that's being presented. More and more people can't ignore it anymore. I know firsthand, my father has built or has just worked for FX trading platforms for the past 20, 25 years. And up until this year and a little earlier, they've just been getting tons of demand for crypto from their institutional clients. And so now they have to support stablecoin pairings, because even if you're just trading out of FX currencies, you'll still be able to have that one-day settlement with a stablecoin like USDC or Tether. So there's a lot of benefits for even companies that are not fully in crypto or maybe only have one foot in. But this is kind of what I wanted to ask a little bit earlier as well when I asked, are you guys buying? Are there any alts that you've got your eye on that you're going, if it reaches this price, I'm thinking about pulling the trigger?
If ETH somehow drops down to 1,500, I'm buying more. Absolutely. Because I feel like, and I've said this before, and now I've been saying this for over a year, and now now within the last few months, other people, including Reichel Paul, are saying it. ETH is a proxy for the rest of the altcoin universe, right? It's like an ETF for altcoins. And if they're all going to go up, or they're going to stay level, or they're going to go down, ETH will as well. It's the QQQ for alts. So I'd rather have exposure to ETH and then selectively pick off trades, like scalp trades based on sentiment data or alerts that are coming off the Trade the Chain dashboard. But I will always want to accumulate more ETH than I did, for sure.
Jeez, that was a long-winded answer. I just want to buy ETH.
Ethereum. Look at the Ethereum dominance chart, and it's almost like the inverse of Bitcoin dominance, because Ethereum has really served almost as an ETF for altcoins. But I do want to bring up a couple points here just to leave you with as we kind of wrap up the show. Yeah, let me pull this up. This was very interesting. This is the Market Rebellion Unusual Option Activity dashboard, in the sense that this is where unusual option activity occurs and when you get trades that are very unique. And so past 3 days here, getting a lot of paper coming out of Riot. Earlier today at around 12, we had nearly 5,000 call options, way above the open interest of only 1,000 or 1,200 contracts. So smart money is betting on Riot. They're betting on Bitcoin. And then one asset that I've been looking at and that I bought earlier today is XCH. I'm going to go king of the shill mode now. That's why I asked in the comments if Rob from Digital Asset News was still watching. But this is something I've been buying and scaling in at. very gradually. But that's the Chia network. And, I'm taking this directly from Rob's playbook in the sense that, bet on people. First, of course, we have Bram Cohen, creator of BitTorrent. We have a narrative around energy efficiency that I think a lot of people could get on board for in a bull market mania period. And then we also have Naval Ravikant and Andreessen Horowitz putting millions of dollars in a seed round for the developers of Chia to actually build this cryptocurrency. So when we combine all that together and we see we only have a market cap of about $150 million, I think that this could be a very nice low cap gem. Thank you, Alex. Yeah, it's great branding, and so I'm going to show that, and I'm buying that myself. So,
I mean, I also like Cardano. I've said that before. I feel like Cardano's on the upswing, but
I mean, go ahead.
No, that's all. Just hot coin summer.
One thing I want to show everybody is, as I got on the monitor, I mean, Stellar is just upward trajectory right now with this daily sentiment here, and it is moving in the 1 hour projection range, 4.5, 4.6 to the top. Activity's picking up. I'm really taking a good look at Stellar. I mean,
but that rise in tweet volume is just people talking about MoneyGram, right? So, I mean, why would buying MoneyGram be good for Stellar? I feel like it would be a waste of money.
You know something? It's progress forward. I mean, whether it's right for Stellar or not, I'm not familiar with the Stellar team's acquisition units or what their position is. And frankly, I don't care. I'm looking at Stellar right now, and the sentiment is just on an hour-over-hour basis, along with price, just rising and getting stronger. So for me, I don't care if they make sleeping bags. This is going to look like a really good, or cheesesteaks. It's looking right now. So
I feel like this might be a good opportunity to short Stellar right now, because I don't think
you're going to go. Okay, let's mark this moment right here.
I'm not going to short it, but I feel like it would be a good opportunity to short it if someone was holding it.
XLM marking it down 26 cents, 2:31 p.m. Eastern time.
Let's see if I get my virtual face ripped off. This will be fun.
We'll do the 24-hour bet here. So,
all right,
guys, thank you for joining us, especially for an extended show. We really appreciate it. Each and every day you guys come out and show your support. So thank you very much. We're going to see you tomorrow and hopefully have more positive news on the market. Hopefully Monty's back, some Ethereum breakdown, some altcoin breakdown. But hang on to your handlebars and have a good day.
Hot dog's a sandwich.
Hot dog's a sandwich.